It is the Brilliant Show. I am Scotty Brilliant, and I've got God. Can't remember his name. Talked.
And I'm John Hassinger.
Thank you.
Coming at ya.
I was having a little trouble with that. What's going on, dude?
Yeah, well, nothing. Well, I mean, a lot of things. I feel like there's so much to get to in just a short show that we're gonna do here. But I'm just sitting here wrapping up the workday. I love it. Last show was really late. Now this show, it's 4:50 in the afternoon.
Yeah, this one's early. We didn't do the last show. We didn't do a show last week.
Right.
I don't know what was going on last week. Why we didn't. I was doing stuff around the house for a while.
And I had dinner Thursday night, and it was kind of like, I couldn't get out of it.
Oh, yeah, and I was with a buddy of mine on Thursday night as well. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Heather's got like all these friends, that have boyfriends, and, I think their dream is for us to become best friends.
Oh, one of those deals.
So, yeah, we go out on all these dates and, double dates, I guess. And the last guy I met was pretty cool, but I don't know.
She's trying to match you up with friends.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, I have enough friends. I have like 4 or 5 really good friends down here, and that's almost too much.
Yeah. Well, do you realize that, as you get older, you kind of capped out your friends? Like, I have people that I'm friendly with, like guys in my jiu-jitsu class, people that I've met out at gigs and stuff, like in the area, but none that I really like hang out with. Maybe because I'm married, so I really don't do much of anything, but there's only like 1 or 2 people that I would probably call. Like if Nat went away for the weekend, I had a free weekend, I'd be like, what the hell would I do? Who am I going to call to hang out with? It's kind of like you establish your friends in high school and in college, and maybe after college in our case, and then you kind of just have like acquaintances that you probably like hang out with in a group or see every now and then.
Yeah, it's so funny because Agnew was just telling me the same thing. He's like, well, you moved to Florida. His other best friend, the kid that we grew up with, whose backyard used to touch my backyard. Like we lived in the same exact neighborhood.
Okay.
He moved to Vermont. His one really good buddy that he met in college is married and lives in Jersey. And Agnew's like, I don't have any friends. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad. I guess I never like got married and started having a family with the ex. Or else I'd probably have no friends down here. You know what I mean? Like, I had to meet friends. I knew one guy down here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you moved. And I guess that's the case. See, and I wouldn't know what to do. Like, if I had moved out to the Lehigh Valley, not in a radio role where I was, maybe working for like a small company or whatever, where I guess you make friends with the people within the company, but in your case, you work from home, so it's like, what do you do in that case? And there was many nights at the beginning that I would just wander out to a bar by myself, and I didn't make friends that way, but I mean, at least I was out, and then I guess slowly you start, I don't know how it works. How do you make friends these days? I don't even know how it happens, really.
Well, yeah, I think the fact that you're in a studio alone for the majority of the time you're at your job, you're not really interacting with people. The first job I got down here, the first like real job other than waiting tables, there was like 6 other employees that were doing what I do, and I became friends with 2 of them. And one of them I still talk to. I barely get together. Like we get together for a baseball game once a year. Real good, cool, gay guy, good baseball fan. And then I went and moved to that company, RN Network, where there was 90 employees, and all of them, the majority of them were women in their mid-20s.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, this is a real easy way to make friends.
Not bad. Yes, some good friends.
It's like I've already lived with women this age, so like I know how they act and like how to, not take them too seriously.
Yeah.
At that stage. So that was kind of an easier way to make friends, through work.
Well, I noticed last night, because we were texting about we were going to try to do the show last night, and you were I couldn't read what you were putting down. I wasn't picking up what you were putting down. You were like, oh, I'm kind of tied up. And I was like, you have company? And you're like, yeah, kind of. Friends, in quotes. And I was like, I'm confused, John. So is that what you were alluding to, the fact that you had people over that you really didn't care whether they were there or not?
Let me pull that back up because I kind of forget how it all went down.
Okay. But yeah, I know what you're saying about the work friends. And Unfortunately, with the radio station, I mean, I only worked with, I mean, there was probably about 20 people in the entire building, and half of them, or probably three-quarters of them, I didn't really want to hang out with outside of work anyway, you know?
Right.
So, but whatever.
I mean, I'm even thinking back to Quick Rock, like
Well, that's how we became.
besides you, yeah. But I stay in touch with the Rob, but he wasn't even, he wasn't really even there when we were, at the same studio, and no one else.
Yeah.
There's no one from there that I stayed in touch with.
Well, I think, it's the same old story. Even when you make friends as a kid, it's like attracts like. So if you find someone that has like interest to you, you're probably going to stay connected to them versus someone that you just maybe met in a bar and you're like, oh, I like to drink. Oh, I like to drink too. All right, let's meet up every once in a while and drink together.
Right.
I mean,
it's like your work friends. It's like, oh, we both have this job and spend 40 to 50 hours a week together. Let's go spend more time together.
Yeah.
Like you really gotta like somebody to be able to put up with that.
Yeah, believe me, yes.
So you said you're the one that threw this whole thing off, and I knew it. You go, we were like talking, we're like, let's do it tomorrow. And I go, thanks, Biff. Sorry, I'm doing the annoying social thing right now. And you go, oh, no worries. You got company? And I go, sadly. And then you go, haha, friends in quotations.
Yeah.
And then I wrote in quotations, friends, indeed. Ugh. And then you wrote, haha, I'm confused. And again, it's just these people that I'm kind of like crowbarred into hanging out with because of Heather.
Okay, so that's what you were referring to. Because, I mean, social thing, I could have been, maybe you were, like, updating your Facebook page on social media. Like, I just assumed that you had, like,
God!
You were trying to be social or something. Like, you had people over that you were, like, attempting to be social with.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was forced into being, dance monkey dance. And I hate that. And I couldn't get away to do the show.
You should have just done the show right, and you should have been like, "Excuse me." Look at your laptop, put on your headphones, and just start to yourself.
Yeah, but all of them would have tried to like join in, hearing half of the conversation, just Maya, and it would have driven me insane.
I'm glad we didn't do that then.
Yeah, I know. So I didn't, for the first time, I think in my life, go to church on Easter Sunday.
Really?
And that's like the one you can't skip. Like Christmas is 2, Easter's 1.
Were you hungover?
And then you can skip all the rest. No, I don't feel the urge to go. I said a little prayer to myself real quick. Don't edit that out.
See, that's what I need to edit out. Stuff like that. Does anybody want to hear you belching?
Maybe.
No.
I think they think it's funny.
About that?
Most people think it's funny.
I'm
Most listeners
farting
think it's
into
funny.
the microphone. Every time I got a fart, I'm just going to take off my headphones and fart right into the microphone.
You should. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
You don't think that's funny? I think 90% of our listeners think that's funny, from what I hear.
That will include our listenership. That will increase it from 5 to maybe 7 listeners,
or 17.
Oh, that would be even better.
But and we didn't celebrate Passover either. Heather's parents were just like, whatever. And now you're joint families.
Yeah, yep.
What did you do? Did you do both?
Well, luckily, neither of us are that religious. So we just kind of woke up on Easter and hung around, made breakfast. I tried to make matzah latkes because, the whole thing with Passover is you can't eat bread. But I try for like the first 2 days. And then, like, for instance, it started sundown on Friday. So Saturday was the first day of Passover. Friday night, I was good. Saturday morning, I was good. And then we went to Natalie's sister's house. So I guess my sister-in-law to dye Easter eggs with the kids because they have a son, same age as Ben. And they ordered 4 pizzas. And I'm like, guys, I can't have this. I can't have this. Okay, I'll have 1 slice. All right, I'll have 4 slices. So I thought I was going to get struck by lightning on the way home. I thought I was going to, on a one-way trip to hell having bread during Passover. But, like yesterday I was good. Today I made Ben an egg sandwich, and I was like, that egg sandwich looks real good. Maybe I'll just have 1 egg sandwich with bread that's not really that leavened. Not matzah, but maybe like not really thick bread, so maybe it'd be okay.
And it's early.
It's early. I still have the rest of the week. And actually, I'm going to my parents' house, I think tomorrow. We're going to go check out some houses. And there we go. So we're heading down to New Jersey. I'm going to check out some houses in the area later in the week. And they're, of course, following the tradition of Passover. So I think I'll be forced to not eat bread. So it's like I can kind of make up for my bad habit at the beginning of the week, being a bad Jew, maybe later in the week if I go to my parents' house, right? I mean, I don't know. My mom does it, and she's not Jewish. She's as Catholic as they come, and she just does it kind of, so my dad doesn't have to not eat bread alone. And it's really not that big of a deal. You think for a week I'd be able to like go on like a modified Atkins diet where I'm like, I'm going to cut carbs, but I realize how many things I put on bread, and I realize that I don't like anything unless it's on bread. Like I really try to get into grilled chicken. It's good for you. It's like a good solid meal, and I just can't really get into it. I can't do it, and I've tried, and it just bores me.
You don't like season it or put like a
put
little barbecue sauce on it?
Put barbecue sauce, marinade, and I don't know. Like I can never find a good way to grill it because either I don't grill it enough, and it's like real rubbery, it's like, or I grill it too much and it's burnt, and then I just won't eat the leftovers. It's just I don't know. I can't.
So wait a second.
It's really depressing. It really is.
You said earlier that you tried to make latkes, which I, for my birthday, Heather's mom made me for dinner.
They're good. You have potato latkes.
She goes, what do you want? Yeah, she goes, what do you want for dinner? And I go, I don't know, whatever's easy. And she goes, no, just tell me what's your favorite thing that I've made so far. I was like, the latkes. Yeah. She's like, all right. So she made like 50 of them for me and like Heather's brother and her stepdad. We just crushed them. They're so good. But you said you tried to make them and you screwed up.
No, I mean, I can make them all right. I kind of do like the simple version because my mom used to make them when I was a kid, and she used to complain how much of a pain in the ass they were, and I didn't realize why. But with the matzo latkes, like you have to use matzo meal, which is just basically crushed matzo. So last year when I made them, I didn't have matzo meal, so I just put matzo in like a blender and crushed it up, which was fine. But what you got to do with the eggs, you separate the yolk from the white part, and then you beat it till it's like whipped almost, and then you like mix them back together. I don't even do that. I just crack an egg and mix it all together, and it turns out fine. I mean, maybe they're not as fluffy, but it's still the same thing pretty much. And I don't know. You had potato latkes, right? So you had them at dinner. So you didn't put syrup on them or anything like that, right?
No, man. I eat them plain. They're so good. I don't need anything. I don't want to mess them up in any way. I don't want to put anything on them. They're delicious. I don't know. Hey, babe, how does your mom make the potato latkes? Like, what does she use? Do you know? No, you don't know.
She has no idea.
How does she make them? You can buy. There's a mix. I mean, what's the mix called?
Is it matzo meal?
Is it matzo meal? Potato pancake mix?
Yeah, okay, so it's two different things.
Yeah. Oh, Heather puts applesauce on them.
Yeah, okay. So for the potato latkes, you do that, and that's more of a dinner meal. For the matzo latkes, it's breakfast. Like I made them, and this is again, I'm going to hell. I made them with bacon. But I mean, they're like pancakes. You put syrup on them, dude. That
is the funniest thing. It's like the most un-Jew latke I've ever heard. With bacon bits,
dude. They are. You fry them, and oh my god, have Heather make matzo latkes, or better yet, if you, I don't know if there's any Jews in your area. There probably are because you're in Florida. So just go to the supermarket and get matzo meal. It comes in like a canister, and the directions for it are usually on the back. It's simple. It's like salt, eggs, matzo meal, and like either water or milk, depending on what you like better. You mix it together, you put it in a pan with some butter, and you make these things, and they're so good. They're very, like, depending on how much salt you eat, they're kind of salty, but then when you add the syrup, it's like sweet and salty.
Oh,
dude, you'd love them. Try the breakfast ones.
I crush those like steamed clams.
Oh, dude,
they're good. Like 100 steamed clams. You can eat about 50 of them with someone else.
Yep.
What? No, I can't see you. Yes, the little puppy is laying on Heather on the floor, and I'm being distracted, and I can't keep my train of thought. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, I'm not going to eat those things on a daily basis. And are you just not a good cook? Because chicken is the easiest thing in the world to cook.
No, I'm a good cook. I mean, I've been cooking now since I've been home. I've been manning the grill and stuff. It's not that it's hard to cook. I just don't like it. Like I don't. And I love sauces, man. I'm the king of condiments. Every time I go to the grocery store, I buy new sauce. I don't know what it is. Sriracha, hot barbecue.
Oh, I love sriracha.
I even bought balsamic ketchup. Heinz is making these new varieties of ketchup where they mix it with something else. Like, just a marketing gimmick. Like you can't mix it. I mean, come on, you've had barbecue sauce and ketchup on the same plate and mixed it together. Maybe throw in some
Sure.
hot sauce.
Sure. Oh yeah, a little maybe a dollop of mayo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just get it going in there. Throw whatever.
Big. Yeah, I love condiments too.
I love them, but yeah, I like things on buns. Like I like hot dogs. I like hamburgers. The only thing that I don't like on a bun, and I only make it once, well, maybe like once or twice a week, is steak. I can eat steak
Oh yeah,
all the time. But chicken, I don't know, man. I'm trying to get into it because it's good for you, and it's like got a lot of protein, low in fat. Same with fish. I like fish, but I don't like it enough to make it that often.
Yeah.
And I'm having problems these days. It's quite depressing because I
Little
realize,
little grilled chicken, little sweet potato with butter.
yeah.
That's a damn good little meal there.
Oh,
I hear someone in the background.
Yeah, you hear him? What, buddy? Yeah, can you wait a couple seconds while I'm doing something? Can you? I'm actually like doing a show right now, bud.
What does he want?
Okay, he doesn't listen. Yeah, like he'll just say what he wants, and then I'll
Right.
say what I'm doing, and then he'll just keep on saying what he wants. The guy already ate two
He's like-
muffins.
He's like Charlie Brown talking to his teacher.
Yeah.
It's like wah 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 wah. All right, yeah, whatever.
It is.
I need.
Yes, yes. He does it. Like I told him, I tried to feed him as much as I could before we did the show. I gave him his new thing is he likes English muffins, plain English muffins with butter and jelly. So he ate two of
Ooh,
them.
That
So
was an
good.
old favorite of mine.
Yeah, the combination of the butter with the jelly on there.
Oh, melts and it all just kind of blends together into
Oh.
this buttery jelly glory.
So good. But yeah, he loves that. So now he's asking for a vanilla milkshake. And when you mentioned the Charlie Brown analogy, I guess Natalie had sent me this thing she saw on BuzzFeed, and it said, why don't toddlers listen? Contrary to popular opinion, toddlers do not possess listening ears. They are unable to hear commands like stop, no, don't eat your boogers, or stop lifting mommy's skirt. Toddlers can only hear words that pertain to snacks. A toddler may not understand the words stay in your bed, but she will hear you chewing a Mentos from outer space. I thought that was funny.
Oh my god, yeah, that's true. It's just like Seinfeld says, get candy, get candy, get candy, get
Yeah.
candy.
What a true
That's
one-track
all-
mind.
That's all that's going through your head
Yep.
at that age.
Yeah.
And then Halloween rolls around and your head explodes.
Yeah.
They're gonna give it to us for free?
Well, we just had Easter too, so he's got
Oh,
like
yeah.
3 Easter baskets, and so on Sunday on Easter, you didn't go to church. Did you hang out with family? Was there? I mean,
Nope.
parents are down there. No.
Nope. I sat at the pool from like 9 until like 6:00.
Oh, that's a rough Easter.
Till Heather yelled at me. She was brutally hungover. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to go to the pool all day and read. And at like 5:00, I came back in and I was just, I don't know, refilling my water or something. And she's like, well, where are you going? And I'm like, oh, I'm going back to the pool. She's like, it's almost 6:00. You've been there since 9 this morning. Like, I know, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, you can hang out with me for like a minute. I was like, okay.
Oh, it must be nice. How tan are you? You must be like
I am getting a good
like
tan, man.
black.
But it's
Jeez.
really funny because the other day Heather goes, "Babe, you gotta sleep on your lay on your stomach." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "You're so tan on the front," and then I turn around and it's like whitest guy ever. I'm like that center for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, crap. But I hate laying on my stomach. I can't, I just have to lay there.
Yeah.
I can't-
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Well, you can't really do much on your stomach. Plus, it hurts. Like, it hurts my neck. And like, you can't really do much on your stomach unless you're like sleeping, maybe. Like, unless you have your head on your arm and you're sleeping. Like, at least on the beach,
Yeah,
But I mean,
like your jaw and teeth are being compromised.
smushed into the ground.
Yeah, no. So, so that's what we did all day.
That's pretty nice.
She recovered and I bathed.
That's not bad at all. Why to go to the obligatory in-laws Easter celebration? Nat's mom has like 11 brothers and sisters. So
Whoa!
yeah, the one sister, it's actually a cool place. They have this like really nice house with a pool. The husband owns a car dealership. So they just their back, like their basement, the doors open. Can you hear what's going on in the background? Can you hear
To
like
the
the
outside.
cartoons? Can you hear the cartoons?
I can hear some activity,
But
but it's
Ben,
not distracting.
Can you turn that down a little bit, buddy? Ben?
I want to do a
Can you turn that down a
segment.
little bit?
I want to do a segment where it's like
Yeah,
what
turn it down.
what he responds to you with. Like, what is he hearing right now from you?
Nothing. Yeah, he's not saying
Nothing.
anything because it hasn't got turned down. It got turned up. Ben.
And he's going to turn around and be like, "This is the part where SpongeBob kills Patrick." Or whatever.
See, you know what the funny thing is that he's got the TV on with something on, like one of his shows, and he's watching SpongeBob on his iPad. So he's got like two things going on at once. It's like split screen.
He's like me. You better get that kid on Ritalin like now.
Oh God.
ADD multitasker.
Well, it's the iPads, man. We didn't have that when we were kids, so he could like do a couple things at once.
Yeah, but I do it now. I would definitely do it when I was a kid if we had them.
See, I never was into that. Like I had Nintendo, and that was about it. So like I'd rather be outside chasing after a ball or something. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah,
Climbing a tree.
Played basketball and football and wiffle ball and capture the flag.
Yeah, okay. I remember Run the Bases. You remember that?
Run the bases, hide and go seek.
A flashlight tag was good.
Free flashlight tag.
Yep. Or you just spin around in circles till you got nauseous. We did that a lot.
Kick the can.
What are you, 80 years old?
What was kick the can? Oh, I remember. It's a good game. You got to try it. 80 years old.
Yeah, if you're like 80 and you grew up in like the 1930s, like some slum of New York City, then you played kick the can because you couldn't afford a soccer ball.
I think that's what happened. Yeah. I think that's what happened. Like some old guy showed up to some family party we were at, and he was like, "You whippersnappers should play kick the can." It was all the rage before electricity was invented,
before soccer balls were invented or any type of inflatable ball.
But anyway, kick the can was a fun game. I think I played it like one time.
I don't think I ever played it.
I think it was similar to capture the flag, but like you kick the can. I don't know. So wait a second. 11 aunts and uncles. How many cousins does she have?
A lot of cousins. Yeah, a lot of kids running around. I mean, it's not a bad time. At first, I was a little overwhelmed, and still, I'll leave there and I'll be like, "What was your one uncle's name?" And she'll be like, "Oh, that was Nick." It's kind of like I know everybody's name, but they come at you so quick when you get in that you're like, "Oh, hey," and I just end up saying, "Hey, good to see you. Happy Easter." Good thing it's like a holiday because then you can just say Happy Easter to everyone, and then just thank the people that own the house, that are making the food, and so I just kind of cover my bases. And her Uncle D. Her Uncle Dennis, who's like her grandmom's brother, so it's like a great uncle. He was like big into martial arts. He used to train like the Allentown police and the state troopers and like defense tactics and stuff. So he's a real cool guy. He's had like 2 hip surgeries. So I always try to find him and talk his ear off about like, old school martial arts and stuff. But
hip surgeries.
And hip surgeries, yeah, because I can relate to that as well. But
Ken?
No.
Oh, are you going to need a hip replacement?
Probably. Probably. But I guess what had happened yesterday, or not on yesterday, but on Easter. So my brother-in-law, Natalie's older sister's husband, I guess they've been together for a while, and at first Natalie was did not like him at all, not fond of him at all. He's just real arrogant, a big know-it-all, and supposedly he's changed. Like he's mellowed out a little bit, but he's still one of these guys that like thinks he knows everything about everything, and he doesn't. I mean, I remember like 2 years ago at a Christmas party, we were talking about wrestling, and I'm the type that will always argue. So we were talking about like the Ultimate Warrior, and he's like a big wrestling fan. He was like, "Oh yeah, there was many Ultimate Warriors. How do you know which Ultimate Warrior you were a fan of?" And I remember I looked it up, and I don't know what the correct answer was. I think, was there only one Ultimate Warrior, or were there?
Yeah.
There was only one, right?
Yeah. There was always rumors that one of them died and they replaced it. But no, it's been the same guy, and he actually just died.
Yes, and that's what I said. Last year. That's what I said. There was only one. And I don't know how I knew this, but yes, that's the stance I took. And he was like, "No, there were many. How do you know which one you were a fan of?" And I was like, "No, there's only one." And I looked it up on the internet, and he's like, "You're going to believe everything you read on the internet?" I'm like, "This is like a wrestling website." Yes, I believe it over you. So anyway, yesterday we were talking about so at their house on Saturday, he's got one of those pull-up bars in like the door frame, So I was like, nobody can beat me in pull-ups. And her other sister's boyfriend was there. He's a real cool guy. And he comes in, he was sitting on the couch. So I did like 20 right away. And he's like, "Oh, well, you got shorter arms and stuff." And I'm like, "Well, you do it then." He like couldn't barely get one. But anyway, he wasn't really trying.
What?
He didn't even try because he knew like he couldn't beat me. Like I'm good at pull-ups for some reason. I don't know why because I'm
So
short.
you have a
and fat.
huge back.
But I'm decent at pull-ups.
Like a Ninja Turtle.
I'm like a turtle. So then we had the girls compete. You know, the flexed arm hang, and Nat was so sure that she would win, and she ended up doing it. And then we actually did the competition, so Nat was a little tired out, so she ended up losing to her older sister. So it became like a joke. So or not yesterday, but on Easter at the party, we were talking about it, and I was like, well, I had this shirt that I got from the Marines because I was Natalie and I were out to dinner one night, and we went to the Sands Event Center for some fights, some cage fights, and there was a Marine booth set up, and they always bring the pull-up bar with them, and it's like the pull-up challenge. So I'm in like boots and like a button-down shirt, and we just had like 3 or 4 beers, and I was like, I'll see how many I can get. So I got like 22, and the Marine was like, Dan, that's pretty good. You almost beat our Marine who was just here. He got 20, he did 24, and that's what we're looking to beat. So I was like, wow, all right. So they gave me like a shirt and like some like other stuff. So the shirt says Marines, and it says like pain is weakness leaving the body, whatever, but it's like a dry fit shirt, so I wear it to work out.
Oh, nice.
And people come up to me at the gym and they're like,
silver sneakers.
The silver sneakers, yes. They say thank you for your service, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I realize I'm wearing the shirt. So I was telling the story, and he said, I don't understand why, people always need to thank them for their service. He's like, they volunteer for this. They make good money. And I'm like, well, would you want to do it? And he's like, I thought about it. And I was like, but
that's as far as you got.
Exactly. And then he's trying to tell me that they come from like lower, like socioeconomic classes. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, you're telling me that like you would, I'm like, but when you go, he's like, well, it's not like they're in like a real war. And I'm like, there is a war going on, and it might not be our war, but it's still a war. And when you're sent over there, you have like a 50-50 chance of not coming back. And he's like, so you're saying 50% of the troops are dying? And I'm like, no, I didn't say 50% of the troops are dying. I'm saying as an individual, you go out there with a gun, and you know that you may die or you may come back. You have like a shot at both. And, not everyone dies. I mean, like I'd say majority come back, compared to those that have died overseas. But I mean, you could be driving your Humvee and then run over an IED and then boom, lose a limb. It's not a chance I want to take for any amount of money. And I give a lot of credit to those guys that are willing to do it. And he was taking the other stance, and he was starting to get heated, and he was like giving me all these statistics and facts. And then I don't know how it stopped, but like we're kind of sitting around the table. So like her grandmom was there, and like Natalie was over like somewhere else, but his wife, Natalie's sister, was there, and like her uncle. And I'm like, he was like starting to get really like agitated, and I was getting a little bit heated.
What was his argument? That like they're not heroes?
Not so much. It's just that they're like they do it because they it's an option coming out of school. If you don't have a lot of options, like if you're not like the brightest bulb and you're going to college, it's an option to make some money. To do like to make money. And I'm like, well, they don't make enough money for what they do. And it's not an option that I.
And how much do they make?
It's not that much. I mean, they have good pensions and they have good benefits and opportunities when they get out of the war. Because
but they got to hang around for at least like 20 years. They can't go to the war for a couple years and then have their tours or whatever it's called end and then go back into the real world.
Exactly.
Like I work with this guy, dude, who. He's a recruiter now, but he was in the army and he was in Iraq and he killed people. And he told me these stories how he launched a grenade at a guy that was shooting at them from like a window like 4 stories up, launched a grenade at him and blew the whole place up. They went all the way up to the 4th floor to find the guy, and half of his body was the upper half of his body was just laying there. And his sergeant goes, "That was a hell of a launch. Go take his helmet." As like a trophy, and he had his helmet with him.
Oh man!
But he was like traveling, and he had all his stuff in his car.
That's things you don't forget. That will never leave your mind.
No,
and I don't want that permanently on my mind. I mean, no matter how tough I think I am walking around, I could never do what those guys do. If I was forced to do it, if there was a draft and I had to, all right, I might find a way to suck it up. But voluntarily, I would not go and do what they do. So, that was my point and whatever, and like the conversation, it just kind of dissipated. But he grabbed a phone. He knew he was looking up something, and I kind of got up and walked away. And then I walked outside, and he was outside with the kids, and we said goodbye, happy Easter. But like I was talking to the other like her other sister's boyfriend. He was like, yeah, he was getting really like heated, and you were kind of keeping your cool. And I was like, yeah, well, the last thing I want to
Whoa.
do is start like, you can't start an argument with like in-laws, like
Yeah,
it's
no,
different
no.
than arguing with your family because your
Right.
family they are forced to to still see you, but it's like I didn't want to make things any
Yeah.
awkward, and I think Natalie had a feeling this would happen one day because he's very opinionated, and I don't really back down from an argument. So it was just kind of funny because it got to that point, and then luckily it just kind of stopped. But
When it comes to, political and religious conversations, and especially war, people get really passionate about it because
yeah,
on one hand, what are we doing over there? Why don't we just blow them off the map and not put all these people in danger, our soldiers in danger, protect our land?
yeah,
Or it's like, yo, this is what we got to do. This is whatever. But they're over there.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah,
matter what
exactly,
they get in return.
exactly.
You know what they get in return? A whole bunch of mental issues,
Yes,
like crazy ones.
exactly.
Like this guy was telling me, he's like, when I got off, he's like, I did two back-to-back tours in Iraq. He's like, I don't know how many people I killed. He's like, and then I had a year off, and then I went back for another year. He's like, in that year off, I got blacked out every day. He's like, I just couldn't deal with what I just was living
God.
for 2 years.
I see. Yeah, count me out. Yeah, no, that's the thing. You're exactly right, and that's a point I didn't bring up is the fact that yeah, man, it's just not while you're over there. The majority of the problems happen when you come back because then you're trying to adjust to civilian life again and not being shot at and not like being cautious to not walk on a bomb that's buried underground. It's tough.
People really underrate how much can change in your life in a year or 2 years.
Exactly.
So many things can change in less than a year.
Yeah. Yep.
People underestimate that, and they forget how long they're actually over there.
Yeah, and that's
True.
that's what I was trying to say, and it just I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like that with in-laws or somebody that you're not forced to get along with, but you got to kind of keep the peace, and that's what her other sister's boyfriend was saying. He goes, he's like, I just diffuse arguments before they happen. And, obviously he's more mature in that aspect than me, kind of like, he's like, because I feel like I never know enough about the topic to argue about it. So why even start up? And that's true. And I probably should have said, listen, I don't care to argue about this because, I mean, this guy's not the type of person that is going to see it any other way than his. So it's like, what's the point of even getting into it? And I should have just been the bigger person and been like, I'm going to go see what the kids are doing outside, or I'm going to, get another slice of ham or something,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no. I mean, I have conversations like that, I feel like daily, where I don't agree with what the person's saying, and I just I don't care about them enough to even argue with them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Like, there's like 4 people, I think, in my life that I care about enough that I would argue with.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, okay, you can think whatever you want.
It's not worth your time. Yeah, and that's a good way of looking at it, and it's if somebody's going to argue the sky isn't blue, then what's the point of even engaging,
Right. You weren't going to convince him of anything.
Exactly. So, but that was that. And, you'd mentioned before, I heard you talking, you had a little puppy that was in there. Is that new? What is going on there?
God,
you bought a dog? You rescued a dog?
Yeah. Well, I mean, rescued. What does that even mean?
You saw him on the side of the road?
No. We paid for her, and it's a sweet... So, okay. We have a black cat named Shady, who's awesome and loves me. Follows me everywhere like a dog. Sits on the bed while I work and just kind of watches me all day. Takes little cat naps and just hangs out with me.
What a life of luxury, huh? It's a rough life being a cat.
No.
I would love to be reincarnated as a cat, seriously.
Oh, yeah, man. Their ability, they're like superheroes. They can jump so high. They can climb on things. They're crazy. They're like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And so Heather was getting like upset. Like, like Shady doesn't even like her, like won't show her any attention, and she's all over me. So I'm like, yo, we can get another animal. Like, I am not worried about another animal. And she's like, well, can I look at puppies? I was like, yeah, why not? People have puppies all over the world, and everyone we know is going, oh, it's such a responsibility.
Yeah, but
it's like, yeah, so are bills and another animal and laundry, like whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll figure it out. We're not retarded.
People do it. It's like having kids.
Right. People somehow figure it out.
Yeah.
So she looks online at this place called Petland, and they have this mini golden doodle, which is a golden retriever and a mini poodle mixed.
Golden retriever and a mini poodle. How does one mate with the other? I guess the golden retriever has to be the dominant one.
Well, I think one penis goes into one vagina.
Well, I understand but I mean, isn't there quite a physical
size difference?
Yeah, size difference between a golden retriever and a mini.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So I'm guessing the golden retriever is the male part.
Probably. So it's a golden doodle. That's what they're called.
Yeah, man.
I've never even seen one of these. Let me look.
They're bred to like be around children because they're so like friendly and like loving. And this animal could not be more perfect. Like Heather and I hit the jackpot. Like it is the cutest dog ever. And right now, as I'm talking to you, like she basically does all day. She's sleeping on my foot.
That's awesome. She's a pup. I'm looking at some of the pups. They're pretty adorable.
She's so small. I mean, if you look on Facebook, there's got to be pictures all over.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Yeah, black, red. What color is she?
She's gold. She's like
golden. Yeah, that would make it a golden doodle.
Light gold.
Huh. Why do they have a black golden doodle? What the heck? That doesn't make sense.
Because black poodles. There's black poodles.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. Well, congrats.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. I walk her every day in the morning, and I am now a dog person, and it's so strange. When you don't have a dog, you don't pay attention to other dog people. You're just like, oh, there's a dog, whatever. Now it's like, oh, shit, there's another dog. That dog kind of looks scary. We're going to walk her. The dog's name is Mac because she looks like mac and cheese. And I'm like, all right, Mac, let's like walk this way. It's an ugly, creepy dog. But Mac loves all the dogs, so she runs towards them. And then the owner of the other dog will be like, oh, they want to play. And I'm like, no. I'm not interested in this. This dog is 3 months old, not even. I don't want your dog chopping his head off and scarring him for life. So it's weird, man. It's weird being a dog person now.
Yeah.
I still prefer a cat as a pet because they're just so much less work. And I think I respect them a little more. They don't need your attention and approval.
That's why I like cats, because they just don't care. When they want something, they'll pay attention to you, but other than that, find them somewhere.
They're way more like humans than dogs are.
Oh, totally.
I guess that's why we like get along with dogs. Because
dogs are like dumb humans,
Yeah.
You're constantly seeking approval.
Or like babies, I guess.
Yeah, they're like kids, basically like kids.
Yeah, so it's cool. Now we got toys all over the house. Today I think is the first day that she has not shit or pissed in the house. Really? So that's an accomplishment.
That's a milestone.
Yeah, trying to dog potty train that's been a bit of a bitch.
Remember how long that took you to not shit and pee all over our apartment? Remember that? Took you quite a while, so give her a little bit of time. I
think I used to shit in the toilet, but I would leave the door open.
Okay, that's probably what it was. Just the entire house, that's what it was. So,
well, I had to talk to you.
That's true.
I didn't want to talk through the door.
Yeah, well, you're right. We had an important business to conduct at that precise moment in time.
But Sunday night we came home from dinner, again, of course. And, it was last night. When we were entertaining, we were socializing. We left her in her crate for like 3 hours. It was like the longest time ever. We got back and there was shit smeared all over the inside of the crate, all over her paws, in her fur.
Oh, no.
And we like kind of knew it was coming. We're like, all right, let's just get ready. And we walk in and I'm like, oh, great. So I just grab her and just turn on the bathtub.
Yeah.
And scrub her, and and she hates it because I think it's like her second bath ever, so she's not used to it. Or I guess at the place we bought it from, they did it differently. But yeah. And then I took the cage to the roof,
threw it off.
I had to. The hell with this thing!
Into the pool.
It's like, let's just let her shit on the rug. It's easier to clean up than this fucking whole cage.
Oh, God.
And the cage is big. Like, I could probably fit in that cage. And if I scrunched up. And so I take it up to the roof, but you can only get to the 5th floor because the 5th floor here is like, I don't know, this penthouse. You need a card. You need access to get to the 5th floor. So I went to one stairwell and I couldn't get to the 5th floor, and the roof's on top of the 5th floor. So I'm like, shit. So I got to go back down. I'm carrying this damn cage, shit all over it. I have the Windex, I have soap, and I have a brush. And I'm walking down the hallway like a jackass. I agreed to this dog. I go to the next stairwell. I get up, 5th floor again. I'm like, you can only get to the roof from the garage. So then I go to the 3rd stairwell, walk all the way up, get up there. I prop the cage on its side and get the hose, and I fucking squirt it down. And I'm in there scrubbing it with soap and that brush. And then I bring it back down. So that was like the biggest, pain in the ass.
Yeah.
From the puppy.
Well, you know what? You think about stuff like that because you're like, you walk in and you see the dog like in its own poop and the cage, and you're like, oh man, I just want to be like on another planet right now. You know, like, I don't want to have to deal with this. And it's the same when like, when like Ben would wake up when we first had him, and he'd wake up screaming at like 3 a.m. And I remember one time I was like, I woke up and I was like, I just want to be back in college. I just want to be back in college. And like, but then you somehow get through it, like, and when Ben started potty training, I was like, I don't want to wipe an ass. And that's what's the difference if you wipe an ass after he's crapped in his diaper or after he pooped in the toilet? And I was like, I don't know. It just seems more like adult and human if he's
more
actually
aware.
Yeah, pooping in the toilet and then I'm wiping. But you just do it and you don't think about it, and it's not as bad as you think. So I mean, yeah, like it sucked probably throwing the dog in the tub and having to figure out how to clean the cage, but you got it done. You're like, all right, well, I got that out of the way. Hopefully it'll happen less and less as the dog gets older.
When I finally got to the roof, I started walking towards the area where the hose is, and as I'm walking towards it, I'm like, oh my God, I don't see the fucking hose. Oh my God, what if the hose isn't here? Where am I going to go? I'm going to have to carry this fucking thing all the way back downstairs to the ground floor, and then go to what? Like a gas station? Like, where do I take this thing next?
Yeah, what do you do? Yeah.
Freaking out. So luckily, as I walked closer, it was there.
What would you do? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you live in an apartment complex like that. I guess you'd have to just figure out where there's a hose.
I was like,
throw it in the pool.
Like, yeah, my first instinct was like, all right, you know what? If there's no hose up here, I'm just throwing this thing off the roof. Like, I don't care. But I was like, well, wait, I can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't a cheap cage. So it's not like you just dispose of it and get a new one.
No.
Oh, man.
No. Oh, being an adult.
Well, yeah, it's all worth it. I mean, and like you said, people do have dogs. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work getting up at 4 a.m. to walk the dog. So you can take a shit on the side of the street, and then clean it up afterwards. But, you grow attached to the thing. And that's like the biggest problem with pets is that you grow attached to them, I remember when my cats died, it was like horrific, and I was like 20 years old when the last one passed away. So it was like, yeah, I mean, but it's like with anything, why not have, something like a pet or something, I mean.
I got really good grades one year, 3rd grade. And my mother said, if you keep every grade above 85,
all right,
we'll get you a cat. And I was like, yes, finally, because I had always asked for a dog, and they were like, no, you won't take care of it. So they were like, we'll give you a cat. So I went and I got a black cat, my first black cat. And I had her for like a year and a half, and then she got crushed by the garage door.
Oh, wow.
Running in at the end of the night.
That's like Scream style.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, but luckily, that was Pepper. She had a litter of
crushed by the garage. Did you find this cat like that?
No, my brother found her in the morning.
No.
And was like freaking out, like called my dad at work and was like, oh, Pepper got crushed by the garage door. And
you didn't have a retractable garage door where like senses, something in the way?
I think, we did, but
sensor didn't go off.
Yeah, like they're so, I don't know. Maybe back then we didn't have one. I mean, this is 3rd grade, so by then it was 5th grade, so I don't know, 94.
Wow, that's a way to go.
I don't think we had one. But anyway, she had a kitten that we kept, and we just had that one after she died.
Huh.
And then that one I think went crazy, and we put her in like the loony bin. He may still be there.
What do you think about the pets? Like, remember when we lived together? I had that hamster that my mom bought for me.
Oh my God, I forgot. And I had a goldfish, but you had a hamster.
I had a hamster, and Nat like still can't figure out why I had a hamster. And I was like, well, I think what it was like when I first moved to State College, my mom was like I was living with Serge and Jeff, but they moved out, and I was by myself. And my mom's like, well, so you're not lonely anymore. Let's get you a pet. And I think for my birthday or something, I come home and like they like pull this like hamster out, and I'm like,
yes.
Oh, great, a hamster. But the thing was cool. And then what I didn't know was that the hamster was pregnant, and I woke up one morning and there was like 6 hamsters in the cage.
What?
That was when I lived. Remember when we first met, and you came up to that apartment that was right by Cafe 210. You remember that small one?
Strange apartment.
It was very strange. Yeah,
it was like, was it 4 apartments or just one?
It was like you walked upstairs and there was like 4 doors, but they were each. But I mean, it was a 1-bedroom, very tiny, and 3 of us lived there at one point. I mean, we were like pretty much like stacked on top of each other, like the Asians in the dresser drawers from Seinfeld. Like we were kind of like sardines, but it was. Yeah.
Good night, Mr. Kim.
But it was cool. And then so I had this hamster in this cage, and I woke up one morning and there was like 5 hamsters.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what do I do with these? So like I ended up like keeping them for a little bit until the one morning when they busted out of their cage and went all over the apartment complex. And luckily, I found them all. Like, the neighbor had one that brought over. One was, like, in a hole in the wall in the hallway that I saw it, like, sitting in there, and I grabbed it.
They staged a mutiny.
It was a mutiny. They punched out the top. It was like a scavenger hunt for hamsters that day. Oh, man, that was a mess. So, yeah, I mean, a hamster. I've had it all. I mean, I had hermit crabs, hamster. I've had lizards, cats, birds, horse. We had a horse.
Well, wait. What did you eventually do with the 6 other hamsters?
Well, this is the funny part. The one died and she ate the body. That was gross.
Okay, well, yeah.
And I might I think I exaggerated. I think there was like 4. So the one died, so there was 3 left. And I took the 3 when they became like, I don't know, they were like 2 or 3 weeks old. So they were like, looked like miniature hamsters. And I brought them to the local pet store. And they were like all excited because they were like a special type of hamster that like sells, whatever they were called, that like sells pretty quickly, the big fluffy. And so they took them, and it was funny because I remember going back to this pet store like a week or 2 later, and I was looking in the one cage where she put them, and the cage door was the cage top was kind of like pushed to the side. And I'm like, well, they're not in there. And sure enough, there was these hamsters that were running around the store. And I'm like, that's got to be them.
My God.
That's got to be them. Busted out of the cage in the pet store.
Oh, my God. What rebels.
I know. I was like, those are mine.
And did they find them?
I guess. I just remember they were just running around the store. And I was like, this can't be normal. Like I've seen hamsters in pet stores in like the little hamster ball, just kind of like on show. But these things were just straight running around the store.
They can't be caged.
They could not be caged. So I don't know what really happened to them. I kind of laughed, and like I think one of the lady that was working there was trying to round them up.
Oh my God! And you never followed up?
I never followed up. So who knows? Maybe they're free somewhere, living in State College.
Yeah, the size of dogs.
In the mountains of living in Mount Nittany.
What was that? Yeah, pretty soon we'll be called the Nittany Hamsters. Named after the mythological 3 hamster trio. They were baby hamsters, but they kept escaping their cages, and they grew the size of dogs. They slay deer and Nittany lions. So
have a new statue out front of Penn State.
This big fat gerbil.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. A stone.
Eating an almond.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I can't remember now. I drew a blank on that tangent.
On the hamster thing. Well, let me ask you this. So,
I can see it.
The friends in quotes that you had over last night. Did you watch the big game with them, the championship game? Was that when they were over?
No, they weren't watching it. I was actually at their place. They weren't here. I just didn't feel like explaining all that.
So you wouldn't have been able to do a show, John.
Yeah, it was just because you said, "Do you have company?" And I was going to be like, "No, somewhere else." It was just too much texting. I was just like, "Yeah, like whatever. I'm with someone right now, and I can't do it." And they weren't watching it. And I was like, okay. And after like 2 hours, Heather was like, I'm sure Mac has shit all over her cage. Like, we should go. And I was like, yeah, because it's about halftime and it's 31-31. So I need to go watch the second of this game. And it was like, it couldn't have been better. It was close until like the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was. That's the thing. It was. And Wisconsin had a lead for a while.
Like a 9-point lead.
Yeah, yep. And you know what's funny is that I didn't watch any. I watched part of the Final Four game because it was on at my sister-in-law's house. We were dyeing the Easter eggs. So it was either watch 4-year-olds dye Easter eggs or watch basketball on TV. So I watched the basketball. And, but I don't really get into it. But, it's like with anything. Like, even if you're not a football fan, like all the women in the world, and I'm not going to stereotype, but okay, all the non-football fans in the world still somehow watch the Super Bowl, whether you're at a Super Bowl party or you have it on in the background.
Yeah.
Everybody watches the Super Bowl.
It's just
same
an
with
event.
Yeah, it's like this championship game. I was like, I'm going to watch it. I know it's going to be exciting. Two number one teams.
Yeah. Duke.
And, it kind of turned out how I thought it would turn out. But, I mean, did you keep up with, all the games? I mean...
Yeah, I was definitely. I like Wisconsin and Duke. I wanted both of them to win, and I thought Wisconsin was going to do it because they have all the pieces. They've played together so much, and Duke is all freshmen, and they just looked really, really good, and they could have beaten them if Mike Krzyzewski wasn't the coach of Duke, because he rotated players in and out.
Yeah.
The last 4 minutes, he brought in that Okafor kid who was in foul trouble. He sat him for 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And then brought him in, and he shifted the momentum of the entire game.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And they were down 2, and then they just came roaring back. And then that kid, the kid who won MVP, he was just incredible.
The one freshman, right?
Yeah, and when it got to the pressure, when the pressure was on, Krzyzewski shined, and that other idiot failed.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the Belichick of NCAA basketball, because just keeps his composure more or less and knows where, it's not so much the skill of the players, but it's his ability to put the players in when they need to be, take them out when they need to, and you said, shifted things around.
He always brings out the best in whoever the heck he gets. It's crazy.
Now, my brother-in-law, who knows everything, said, and I didn't argue with this because I didn't know even. I was just like, whatever. But did not a lot of players that graduate from Duke make it to the NBA? Is that true?
No, it's like half true. They do make it to the NBA, but they don't really do anything.
Huh.
Like, okay. I don't even know, besides J.J. Redick, who right now the best kid from Duke is, or the best of all time is easily Grant Hill, but then who? No one.
So why is that? Just they have just a great program, but not really any standout players? Or, I mean...
I think it's because of Krzyzewski. Like, they leave him, and whoever gets them next isn't as wise. And, if you're going to Greg Popovich, yes, you'll be safe. But for the majority of the NBA, the coaches don't know. They can't, make that transition. I don't know. They can't get the kid out of that Duke rhythm.
Yeah,
that works so well in college and just doesn't transfer.
Is it almost like a curse, you think? Like, if you were a player and you wanted, do you have to weigh your options? Like, whether I'm going to be like going to Duke and maybe not have a shot at the NBA, or go to Duke and have a shot at, winning a national title? Like, has it become something like that, or is it not to that level yet where it's like the curse of Duke, you're not going to make millions in the NBA?
No, definitely not. It's funny because I actually talked about this on Quick Rock with my buddy from home who used to call in, and we do a sports little minute. And I was like, who from Duke has gone to the NBA and been great? And he was like, I don't know. No one really. And he's a huge Duke fan. But it's still not something that anyone really talks about.
Yeah.
But it's true. They do have a low amount of NBA stars.
Well, do you think, is there a certain college that a lot of these NBA players come from, or are they from, all over?
That's a tie. I would guess Kansas and Kentucky have a lot of good NBA players.
Okay.
But other than that, it's kind of random.
Yeah.
But because of how good Duke is, you would think they'd have a lot of good pros. It's like Miami in football, they have there's so many great NFL players that come from the U.
Yeah. Yep. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's just fun watching those guys because I'm those freshmen. Those two freshmen that I think they scored like 90% of the points the second half. Those two freshmen
Oh
that were in
yeah.
there, and like a freshman. I mean, like those guys are like 18 years old, and they're like leading a national championship team. Like it blows your mind. Like especially watching, like, or even like watching these college football players, like the quarterbacks there, how cool and composed they are. And I'm like, damn, I'm 32. What am I doing with my life? And they're on TV, winning a national championship.
Oh, I know.
It's
And
crazy.
they were born when we were in high school.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
even more insane. And dude, it just goes to Krzyzewski. Like he's really the best. I think.
Yeah.
I really think he's just in every way the best thing for basketball in college, at least.
When do you think he'll retire?
I don't know because he's really old.
How old? How was he in his 60s? Maybe.
I think he's like 70.
No, really? He looks younger than that.
He looks really young. Like you could tell me he's 51, and I'd be like, oh yeah, of course. Let's see.
Now, has he been any other teams? I mean, I'm sure he has, right? But he's mainly known for Duke.
I don't know. That's a really good question. Okay,
I mean, I know nothing about it.
He's 68.
Wow. Huh.
Wow.
You know what? That just
From
goes
Chicago.
to prove. It goes to prove that, like, I remember my grandfather, and I know Alzheimer's. You don't get it just from boredom, but I think boredom triggers it almost. Whatever the imbalance is that causes Alzheimer's. But my grandfather retired, and within like a year or two, he developed Alzheimer's. And it's almost like if you have something that you're passionate about, like Joe Paterno,
Yeah.
for instance, that guy would probably live to 120 years old if he was still coaching.
As
But
long as there's football.
yeah, as soon as he got like let go, like got discharged, and like had that whole scandal come out, he got cancer and died within 3 months.
His
It's like
purpose. He lost his purpose.
lost his purpose. And look at Krzyzewski. I mean, the guy looks like he's like 40 something. I mean, he doesn't look close to 70. The way he acts isn't close to 70. I mean,
I
he's got
know.
energy.
I know.
I mean,
And he's got jet black hair.
yeah, I thought he was younger than that. Wow.
Good
So-
Pollock.
Good
He
for
was
him, man.
actually the assistant coach on Bobby Knight's Indiana Hoosiers when they went undefeated all the way to the championship, like what Kentucky was trying to do
Wow. Okay.
in 74, 75. Then he coached the Army. And then in 1980, March 18th, he signed with Duke.
Wow.
Yeah. He's awesome.
That's cool. Now, so college basketball obviously wrapped up. Are you watching pro basketball? Because the 76ers they're horrible, right? Are they still even playing, or they just quit halfway through the season?
Oh, yeah, man. They are literally tanking on purpose because they want to get good draft picks. And they almost have like a full roster of number one draft picks. Just two more. And I think some trade that they made earlier is going to enable them to have 2 first-round picks. That means 1 through 10 for 2 lottery picks. So 2 within the top 10 this year.
Wow.
But yeah, I'll be paying attention. I really want to see what LeBron does. I want to see what Golden State does. The NBA is really good right now, so there's a lot of good teams, a lot of cool teams, and like 4 guys vying for MVP.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Who's that? Who are the guys vying for MVP?
It would be Steph Curry from Golden State Warriors. It would be James Harden from the Houston Rockets. Russell Westbrook from the Thunder, who's had like 11 triple-doubles this year. He's insane. And I guess you would say LeBron.
Is that a cheeseburger?
What? A triple-double?
Yeah. Is it burger talk?
Do you know what a triple-double is?
No.
Because Heather had asked me what that was the other day. You have 3. There's 3 categories statistically where you're in double digits. So like,
Okay,
10
that makes
points,
sense.
10 rebounds, 10 assists, or 10.
Yeah, I think I knew that.
No, you didn't know that at all.
No, I didn't know it. I don't remember the last time I actually watched a basketball game. I don't even know where to find basketball games. Are they on like TBS and stuff like that? You never see them on any other channel.
NBC or no, ESPN and TNT.
I can't remember the last time I flipped a channel and a basketball game came on. Now I'll watch baseball just to kind of have. I was having this conversation the other day. Like baseball, I'll have on like if it's a summer day and I'm like outside maybe grilling or drinking, and I got the game on inside, and I'll just check to see like what the score is, like if the Mets are playing. But I don't watch a baseball game. And like I feel like this stretch, like it's good that baseball's over the summer because I feel like over the summer there's so many other things to do where you're not sitting in front of your TV. Whereas like if baseball was on during the winter, I'd probably like be like, oh my God, there's no sports to watch. But I don't watch basketball either. So during the winter, I don't know what I do. But I mean, I know you watch baseball. You're a big Phillies fan. Like, can you sit down and watch a whole game from front to back?
Oh my God, yeah. Like when the Phillies were really good, I bought the MLB package for $99. So, oh my God. Oh my God, I'm dying.
You all right?
Oh. I got really dry there out of nowhere. I would watch every pitch from when the Phillies were, winning their World Series, because of course that happened as soon as I moved down here. So they were really good, and I would watch every single game. But other than that, I'll watch maybe every NLCS, ALCS, and World Series game.
Mm-hmm.
I won't sit down and watch an entire baseball game. It's just too slow.
Too slow. Yeah. No, I agree there.
That's why I like basketball.
Yeah, I just can't get into that. I don't know. I can't get into it. And I don't know. Football and fighting. That's the only thing. And I even watch less fighting nowadays. But I mean, I don't even know what I watch, to be honest with you. But
yeah, what do you watch?
I don't know. It's kind of like at night. Like by the time we get Ben to bed and stuff, and we sit down. Like last night, I had Channel 6 on, so I was Dancing with the Stars. So like I wanted to see the results. It was like, oh, who's going to
the results show?
So yeah, I watched that. I like Shark Tank. I don't even know.
You don't watch Game of Thrones?
No.
Oh my God.
Nope.
Well, you're an idiot.
There is a show that's Secrets and Lies with. Oh
God.
I wanted to see it. The first episode was good, and I was like, oh, I can't wait. See what happens the next. And then I missed the second episode, and I think they're on like episode 7 right now, and I missed like 2 through 7. So I got to go back and watch it. Yeah, you don't like Ryan Phillippe?
No, he's so gay. You should watch Game of Thrones, Scott. I can't believe you're not watching it. Mike, I showed it to Mike. I showed one episode to Mike, and then he watched the entire first season in one day in Florida with me.
No, really?
He's like, yo, do you want to watch the next one? I was like, yeah, I'll watch it again. And before you know it, he watched every episode in one day.
That sounds like a real happening time.
Oh, it's great. Me and him just hanging out on my couch.
Watching Game of Thrones in Florida.
Yep.
Well, it's not like he can go out and get a tan, so I'd be more worried about being in the sun, but I guess he didn't really care at that point.
You just need to watch Game of Thrones. If there's, you need to stop everything and start watching it.
I think I might have to. There's so many things I need to catch up on.
No. There's nothing else. It's the best show on television by far.
All right.
By leaps and bounds.
A lot of nudity in it, so I might like it.
Oh, you'll love the Mother of Dragons. She's the new Sarah Connor in the...
All right, Biff. We'll get back in it next week, and I don't know what happened to Chris. I haven't talked to him. I think he's still alive. I probably should check.
Yeah.
What's going on? Maybe we'll have him back on the show. And yeah, man, you have an excellent weekend.
You too, brother.
Well, that was the brilliant show. Even though it smells funky, it's still fresh.
Ooh, like a tuna.
I was like.